You're listening to the Telltale channel. Don't forget to check me out on all social media: Patreon, Twitter, Teespring, and Etsy. All links can be found in the description or on my website, telltaleatheist.com. Welcome everybody, thank you for coming. I should be streaming on both Twitch and YouTube simultaneously. It looks like I am. This is an unusual stream. I just came here to stream for like 30-45 minutes because I couldn't do my last segment last night when I did my podcast. So I'm doing an extra segment right now. And yeah, shouldn't take too long. Just need to talk about it. All right, let me think about how to start this. Also, I'm testing some stuff at the moment. My cameras are being really weird, and I've had a lot of trouble with it. Okay. Let's see. How am I going to start this? Just got to think for a second. I'm sure you guys probably saw the thumbnail coming into this. We need to talk about Joe Biden's cognitive abilities, his the possibility that maybe he has dementia. I've had a lot of people asking me about this lately, so you know what? Let's talk about it. A while back, there was this clip making the rounds in right-wing YouTube, right-wing Twitter, and places like that. Without further explanation beforehand, let's just watch the clip and see what happens. This is Joe Biden meeting the Pope. Whoop. Uh-oh. Oh, my stuff is dying. Give me a second here. Oh, I know what happened. Give me just a second. Yeah, I lost my, one of my drives disconnected earlier. I just have to reopen this. Oops. Oh, where is it? Okay, here it is. Okay, sweet.
Thank you for that.
So, in this clip, Biden had just given the Pope a coin, okay?
Thank you for that. He was a famous African-American baseball player.
So here's the premise of the clip. Biden says, "You're a famous African-American baseball player," while shaking his hand, right? And then there's just complete silence after.
Player in America.
Somebody walks up and talks to the Pope. And then it cuts off. And here's another clip that was talking about the same thing. Joe Biden has a total mental breakdown during his visit with the Pope. American President Joe Biden tells the Pope, "You're a famous African-American baseball player in America," with a clown face over Biden. J. Biden to Pope, "You're the famous African-American baseball player in America."
He was a famous African-American baseball player in America.
So this is from October 29th, 2021, I think. Okay. This has been going around all over the place for a while now, and it is one of the reasons why people believe that Joe Biden has dementia. Now let's watch the original clip in its entirety.
Thank you for that. He was a famous African-American baseball player in America. I know.
Afro-Americano.
And he didn't get to play.
How about that? It was cut off right before a story was told. Isn't that interesting? This is the Pope's translator because he doesn't speak English very well. Joe Biden walked up to the Pope to tell him a story. And he realized the Pope didn't speak English very well. So he spoke a sentence, waited for the translator to come up, and then told the next sentence. That's actually what happened here. Does Joe Biden have some kind of a cognitive disability? Probably a little. The dude's like 79 years old or something now, or 80, somewhere in there. I'm sure he's slowed down a little bit. He does not have dementia by any stretch of the imagination. But thanks to clips like this right here.
Thank you for that. He was a famous African-American baseball player in America. I know.
Americano, afroamericano.
Thanks to those clips, it's spread far and wide that the guy can't cobble together a sentence, that he doesn't know where he is or what's happening in any given moment. It is pure, unadulterated propaganda. Now, there are also a couple of examples of Joe Biden not being able to, like, get a sentence out. He kind of skips over certain words or whatever. That's because he's had a stutter since he was a child. And the fact that he's capable of holding a press briefing at all with few to no stutters is a testament to how hard he's worked over the course of his life to eliminate the existence of that stutter. So all of the Joe Biden dementia stuff, in my opinion, which is based in fact and information, is pure propaganda. Let's watch the rest of this just so that you guys have the context necessary to understand exactly what was happening here. So he walks up to the Pope. He's about to tell a story. He says, there was not, you are a famous African-American baseball player. He said, there was a famous African-American baseball player. It was the start of a story.
And usually pitchers lose their arm.
Oh, hang on. Let me step back. Find where we were.
Americano.
And he didn't get to play in the Major League Baseball until he was 45 years old because he was black.
Non gli hanno permesso di giocare nella Lega
So he didn't get to play in the major leagues, I think, or whatever, because he was black.
principale fino a che aveva 45 anni perché era nero.
And he was a pitcher.
E lui era quello che batteva.
And usually pitchers lose their arm when they're 35.
In genere loro non ancora hanno cominciato.
He pitched to win on his 47th birthday.
E invece
The press walked in the locker room and said his name was Satchel Paige.
si chiamava Satchel Paige. Allora gli giornalisti sono andati nello spogliatoio.
The commanding officer said, Satch, no one's ever pitched to win at age 47. How do you feel about pitching to win on your birthday?
E tutti hanno detto, nessuno c'è mai riuscito a fare questo a 47 anni. Come ti senti averlo fatto il giorno del tuo compleanno?
And he looked at me and said, boys, that's not how I look at age.
So anyway, the point is, it was just propaganda designed to make you think that the guy has some kind of a cognitive impairment or whatever. As far as I can tell, Joe Biden does not have any kind of cognitive impairment. He's just some older guy who shows his age to some degree. There are no early signs of dementia or any of that stuff. But I'll tell you how we can know for sure if he really does have dementia. And this applies to Trump too. Dementia usually comes in 3 stages. There's the early stage, the middle stage, and the late stage, okay? Each stage generally passes... each stage generally takes about 2 years. So from the first signs, you have 2 years before you reach the middle stage. 2 more years until you reach the late stage, and then 2 more years of that. So when do these people believe that Joe Biden started showing signs of cognitive impairment? Roughly around the time the primaries came along, back in 2019, right? I would say 2019. So by this point, if Joe Biden really did have some cognitive impairment, we should see him breaking down completely and being incapable of recognizing where he is and things like that. Hang on, let's see. Uh, there are different types of dementia, by the by. Alzheimer's is one. Alzheimer's is one of them. Lewy body dementia is another. They are never super specific when they accuse Joe Biden of having dementia, of what type he may have, but there are different stages here. So the early stage is mild. Common difficulties include coming up with the right word or name, remembering names when introduced to new people, having difficulty performing tasks in social or work settings, forgetting material that was just read, losing or misplacing a valuable object, experiencing increased trouble with planning or organizing. Middle stage is where we would be right now with Joe Biden if he actually did have it, because it's been at least 3 years since these accusations popped up, right? Being forgetful of events or personal history, feeling moody or withdrawn, especially in socially or mentally challenging situations, being unable to recall information about themselves like their address or telephone number, experiencing confusion about where they are or what day it is, requiring help choosing proper clothing for the season or occasion, having trouble controlling their bladder, experiencing changes in sleep patterns, showing an increased tendency to wander and become lost, demonstrating personality and behavioral changes, including suspiciousness and delusions or compulsive repetitive behavior like hand-wringing or tissue shredding. Now, the far-right Trump supporters are going to look at this list and pick out a single instance of, or a single example of everything on this list for Joe Biden. In my opinion, he isn't even in early stage dementia, in my opinion. Not even close. I have not seen the signs necessary to convince me that he has any kind of cognitive impairment beyond just being a little bit older. I'm not a psychologist. I don't have a PhD in this or anything like that. I have a 2-year degree in psychology, but we didn't cover this. It was focused on substance abuse counseling. Either way, despite the fact that I'm not a qualified professional and have no place to diagnose anybody or anything like that, I just don't see it. I just don't. And this same thing applies to Donald Trump. We started seeing weird stuff happen to the guy back in, 2018 maybe. Best case scenario, let's say each stage takes 3 years, right? So it's 2022 right now. We should start seeing Donald Trump exhibiting signs like this in mild stage. He should be in the mild phase right now. Best case scenario. By 2024, when he's running again, by 2025, when the next president is inaugurated, whether that's Biden or Trump or anybody at all, they should be, hypothetically, Trump or Biden, completely incapable of functioning by the time the next presidential inauguration takes place. This is a slow progressing disease, in a sense, but 6 years is not all that long when you think about it, especially when you're dealing with presidential elections and stuff. I am very hesitant to accept the claim that anybody has dementia, particularly Joe Biden. It's completely unreasonable. So anyways, let's listen to the first voicemail I have here, because somebody had a question for me. Let's see what they had to say.
Hey Owen, this is Andrew from Saskatchewan, Canada. I just have a question just related to the far-right conspiracy theory about Joe Biden having dementia and stuff like that. Of course I know that it's not true, and obviously Joe Biden doesn't have dementia, but where did the conspiracy originate? How did it get so prominent amongst the far right, and not just the far right, but the right itself, of course. The general right-wing person, I'd love to know what the answer is. Thanks. Well, I love what you do. Bye.
Yeah, I appreciate the voicemail. The answer is, of course, clips like this. This was not the first one by any means. This, like I said, this whole thing with the baseball, this happened, I think, October 29th, 2021. So that was a full 9 months after he was inaugurated, or 10 months. And it was a year and a half maybe after these accusations started flying around in the first place. There were supercuts that were released by like Republican PACs and, you know, influencers and people like that. Supercuts of Joe Biden like wandering around aimlessly and not being able to speak coherently and stuff. Like I said, it was all propaganda. It was all propaganda. The dude has never had a problem with this, in all seriousness. The reason I'm talking about this in the first place is because I saw a video released recently by a YouTuber that fancies themselves a psychologist. I don't know if they have like any of these qualifications, if they actually are a psychologist or what, anything. I don't know anything about it. And I saw supercuts like this one right here. Dude played this baseball one in his video. When you play blatant propaganda like this, I'm sorry, I cannot take you seriously anymore. It's ridiculous, man. So anyway, thank you so much for the question. I appreciate that. Where was I? Trying to find the other one. Where the hell is the next voicemail? Wait, here it is, I think.
Hey, Owen, this is Alex. I have a thought experiment, really, I guess you could call it, for you. So a lot of people say, you just follow me if you would on this. A lot of people say, you know, the devil is the biggest trickster out there, and so on, the father of lies, all this stuff. What if the devil actually tricked everybody into thinking that he was actually Jesus, and he died for everybody's sins, but really it was the devil because he's the trickster. Just a thought experiment that I've just kind of been chuckling at for a little while, and wanted to get your thoughts on it. It's I get a lot of interesting answers when I bring this up to people, so I would love to hear yours. Thank you very much, and enjoying the content, man. Thank you. Keep it up.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Interesting thought experiment. I have another one that's similar to that. Maybe this is what you were thinking, but let me lay this down for you. I heard from somebody a while back that they believed that the Bible was actually written by Satan. So there was an eternal struggle between God and Satan. And instead of God winning the battle, like the Bible says, actually Satan won the battle and elevated himself up to God level, and then had his prophets write the Bible as though he was the good guy, when in reality, the person who lost the battle, which is God, was really the good guy. I mean, when you think about it, the person named as God in the Bible is an absolute monster. And God accuses Satan of all kinds of stuff that he never does. For example, Satan never told a lie in the entire Bible. You ever notice that? He told Adam and Eve, if they ate from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil or whatever, they would know good and evil. They would gain understanding and knowledge and everything. And what happened? They did. And also, God said they would die the day that they ate the fruit. They didn't. They lived for another 80-something years, supposedly, according to the Bible. Or how many years? Actually, it may have been like 800 years. I don't know how long they lived to be. But the point is, Satan never told a lie that I could find in the Bible. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments. Kind of weird, right? Kind of weird that Satan is the exact opposite of the way he's described by God in the Bible. Maybe Satan was the winner of the battle and that's who people have been worshiping the whole time. Who knows? Just throwing it out there. Knock it around the noggin.
Hey Owen, I got a philosophical question for you. It's gonna sound simple, but trust me here, it's gonna be very, very thought-provoking. Is morality subjective?
Yes.
I thought about it ever since you made the statement that government only protects rights and not reinforces morality. And I've been thinking about it, and the more I think about it, like all.
Yeah, let me just explain what the caller just said for those who are unfamiliar with the concept. There's this social contract theory kind of thing where the government is not supposed to enforce morality. In fact, it's a bad thing for the government to enforce morality. The government should only be protecting people's rights. No more, no less. So your right to swing your fist ends right here at the tip of my nose. You are perfectly free to swing your fist anywhere else. But if you swing it right here at the tip of my nose, that would be a violation of my rights. So the government protects your right to swing your fist, and then they protect my right to not be attacked. So police stepping in and preventing you from punching me in the face is not a violation of your rights. It's a protection of mine. The government should have no say past that, basically. That's the whole philosophy behind it. So the government shouldn't legislate morality. They should only protect people's rights. No more, no less. That's the idea behind what the caller just said.
And not reinforces morality. And I've been thinking about it, and the more I think about it, like all different people have different kinds of morality, even if the one of the moralities is wrong in the general society, but we're free to have our own kind of morality. Just wondering, just thinking about it. Thank you. I love what you do. Bye.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Morality is most definitely subjective. We can see a perfect example of that at play with Iran. Right now in Iran, there are massive protests happening because a woman was taken by the morality police for not wearing a hijab, and she died in their custody. The morality police arrested this woman for not wearing a hijab. And there's like a revolution happening at the moment. They are going absolutely heckin' batty, which I'm so glad about. It's fantastic. But think about that. It's a violation of their morality, which is enforced by law in Iran, to not wear a head covering. There's nothing objectively moral about that. Now, Christians like to say Christians like to say there is objective morality in the Bible, and if you use the Bible as a moral guide, you can find that objective morality. In reality, that's not true. The Bible espouses so many different moral positions from beginning to end. It's impossible to base your moral system on it. There is a verse to back up any position, anything that you want to believe. It's in there. You can believe absolutely anything and find a Bible verse to support it. Even the flat earth. There are Bible verses to loosely support the flat earth. It's a big book. It's impossible to not cherry pick. So even people who claim to have a source of objective morality are wrong. They started out with these moral ideas and beliefs and precepts and found verses to back those positions up, those already existing moral beliefs. That's actually how it works. So anyway, that's my take on it. I appreciate the phone call. Let me do something real quick. I'm going to try to... Okay, I'm going to stop recording for a second, and then I'm going to highlight two of these and start recording again. Hang on. I think that may be too much for my system. Maybe, but I'm going to give it a shot anyway. Let's listen to the next voicemail. Yeah, it's too much. I can't do that. Unfortunate. Okay, let me try recording with just one. Hang on. Okay. We'll see how that works long term. Sorry, I've got this new camera that's really powerful, and I just want to try to get it to work with my system. We'll see if it works.
Hi, Owen. My name's Elle Seeley, and I use they, them pronouns, please. And I'm from Colorado. I'm just curious.
You know what? I'm sorry. Let me step back and reset my other camera. Hang on. It was almost out. Okay, one more time.
Hi, Owen. My name's Elle Seeley, and I use they, them pronouns, please. And I'm from Colorado. I'm just curious, what types of schools do Jehovah's Witnesses tend to send their children to? Do they tend to send them to, like, Christian schools or public schools? I ask because it seems like maybe Christian schools would make their children, like, more easily indoctrinated, but if children are supposed to try and spread Jehovah's Witness information to other children, maybe those public schools would have a broader environment. So, yeah, I was just wondering about that. Love the show. Thanks.
Yeah, I appreciate the phone call. The answer is Jehovah's Witnesses view Christian schools as part of Christendom or part of, like, the big evil cabal. Jehovah's Witnesses have a word for the Illuminati, too. It's just, or Jehovah's Witnesses have a concept for the Illuminati, too. It's just a different name, I guess. Christendom or the world. The big evil group of people out there who are trying to take Jehovah's Witnesses down. Kind of ridiculous. But anyway, yeah, they view Christian schools as, like, the root of all evil, basically, and would never, ever send one of their children to a Christian school under any circumstances because they think that they're teaching them incorrectly or whatever else. So, the answer is they definitely do send their children to public schools, but they're not really huge fans of public schools in general and what they teach them, so they teach their children various different things and exclude them from certain activities. They exclude them from any celebrations like Christmas or anything. They exclude them from saying the Pledge of Allegiance in the morning. They exclude them from sex ed classes. And if at all possible, depending on how much time the Jehovah's Witness has on their hands, they might even go as far as to homeschool their kids. I was homeschooled, and my friend growing up was homeschooled also. And it was bad. It was not good. It's just terrible, man. I am very opposed to homeschooling, deeply opposed to it. So anyway, hopefully that answered the question. Pretty interesting. Thanks for the call. All right, hang on. I'm going to restart my recording again because I don't think my system can handle more than 2 recordings at a time. I just wanted to run these tests, and now is a good opportunity to find out just how many I can run. I think I can run a total of 4 renders simultaneously, basically. Either 2 recordings or 2 streams or 3 recordings and 1 stream or something like that. So, anyway, pretty interesting. Okay, let's listen to the next one, shall we? Wait, was that the last one? It was the last one. Wow, it seems like we're done. Awesome. Well, I'll tell you what. Let's just check Twitch and stuff, see what's happening over there. Deadly Eddie, thank you so much for the bits. Appreciate that. Also, Dr. Hayes, thank you for resubbing. Keep up the good work. Will do. Looks like I've got a joke and a fun fact request. I can hit those. Just checking YouTube. Okay. Pumpkin J, from what little I know from working with dementia patients for years, this behavior doesn't match that. Not a diagnosis, though. Right. Yeah, that was my impression of it also. It just does not seem like Biden has a Biden has dementia. It doesn't seem like it at all. And honestly, I'm very skeptical of the idea that Trump has dementia also. Maybe. I've seen some weird things that make me wonder. But it's already been 3 or 4 years since we saw the first signs. He should have progressed a lot further by now. This is fundamentally the difference between me, at the very least, and people on the far right, Trump supporters. When faced with evidence contrary to what you believe, you should be willing to move over to a position that that relates to reality more closely. There's this idea, there's this concept called cognitive dissonance, where there's a stress created in your brain when your beliefs and reality don't match up with each other. And people alleviate that stress in different ways. Some people alleviate that stress. There are 4 different ways to alleviate that stress. I forget what they all are, but a couple are convincing others that you're correct, despite the fact that you're very obviously not, or coming up with a new narrative, a new idea of how the world works to account for the new information, no matter how ridiculous, right? So here we have an example of people who have a cognitive dissonance. They claim Joe Biden has dementia, and they've been claiming it for 3 years at least, maybe 4. But we're faced with the reality that he doesn't have it every time he goes out there and gives a coherent speech, which he does fairly often, right? So how do they work around that? They claim that he has handlers. They claim that he's using a teleprompter, as if any of this would matter ultimately if he really did have dementia and if he has for the past 4 years. As if they'd be able to fake it through, full-blown dementia. It's ridiculous. But they build up these big, ridiculous stories and try to convert as many believers as possible because it alleviates the anxiety, the stress that comes with cognitive dissonance. Don't be like that. When faced with information that conflicts with the beliefs that you currently hold, change your beliefs. You don't have to believe this thing or that. You're not locked into this. You're not going to die if you find out that something that you believed isn't true. When you come to the realization that reality and what you believe are not connected to each other, change your beliefs to fit within reality. Please. If people would just do that, the world would be a much better place. Instead, they come up with these bizarre stories that they spin up out of nothing to explain how they could have been right in the very beginning, and reality, is bent around that. By building conspiracy theories primarily. That's how this happens. They build these gigantic conspiracy theories to make it out like, there are hundreds of thousands of people involved in hiding all this information from you. It's insane. Just change your beliefs to match with reality. That's what I do. Why doesn't everybody do that? The reality is because there are politicians at the very top. In the case of politics specifically, there are Republican politicians at the top who have a vested interest in reaffirming their constituents' delusions because, they can fundraise off of it. So no matter how ridiculous and obnoxious and unhinged from reality their beliefs are, these Republican politicians will keep reaffirming it. You know why? They win elections when they claim the election was stolen. They win elections when they claim Joe Biden has dementia. They win elections when they do this stuff. It's a positive feedback loop. It's nonsense from beginning to end, but they're incentivized to feed into the delusions. Don't be like that. I know it hurts. I know it sucks. But at some point, you have to come to terms with the fact that you were wrong. There is no more important lesson in life that everybody should learn than to say, I was wrong. If you can learn to say that, you're in good shape. Oh, let's see. Just checking through. Okay, sweet. So I got a fun fact and a joke request. Let's hit them. All right. This is from Twitch, by the by. Two guys walk into a bar, which is pretty stupid because after the first guy walked into it, you'd think the second guy would have seen it. Zing. That's the dad joke book for 2022. Let's see. Okay, here's the fun fact. I'll give you guys a bonus fun fact, too. See what we got going on here. Oh, I got my pencil back. My kid borrowed my pencil the other day. And I borrowed it back. So let's see here. 1, 2. Okay, I will give you guys a bonus fun fact here. All right, let's see. In 2013, Vietnam unveiled a steel bridge that's shaped like a dragon that literally shoots fire out of its mouth. It's called the Dragon Bridge. Wow, that's cool. This is the Buildings and Massive Monuments section of the Fun Fact book. Here's another. Kitty, go. Go. Here's another. The world's Kitty, go! Oh my god. Go. Get. Shoot. Get. She's stepping on stuff. The world's largest privately constructed nuclear fallout shelter is the Ark II. It began being built in the 1980s by Bruce Beach, just north of Toronto. Wow. Toronto, Canada, I believe. It's 10,000 square feet, or 929 square meters, and it's comprised of 42 school buses mixed with concrete, runs on internal generators, and has its own chapel, decontamination room, and radio station. Oh my god, that is awesome. I would love to. Wow. Hey, if there's ever nuclear fallout or whatever, you know where I'm headed, and you guys should be headed there too. Someplace in Toronto, just north of Toronto, there's apparently a gigantic fallout shelter. Fascinating. All right, and here's a bonus fun fact. Some buildings in the U.S., such as the White House, the Empire State Building, the Sears Building, and Dodger Stadium, are so large that they have their own zip codes. That's really interesting. There's a new zip code every 20 feet in New York City anyways. I moved like 10 blocks, and I changed zip codes. No joke. So that's pretty crazy. Really interesting. Anyway, all right, guys, I tell you what, I appreciate you coming and hanging out for this short time. Thank you guys so much. It's been fun. I guess I'm going to get out of here, and I will see you guys tomorrow night on my main channel where we're going to be talking about Julie Green, okay? All right, have a good one, guys. Thanks for coming. If you like what I do and you want to make sure I can continue to do it, you can support me in a few ways. First, you can support me on Patreon. That's probably the best way. But if you want to get something back for your support, you can check out my Teespring. I sell all kinds of shirts and stickers and stuff on there. Second, you can support me by checking out my Etsy store. I sell 3D printed stands for every system, from the original Nintendo to the Xbox One. And finally, if you want to support me in other ways, you can check me out on my other channels. I have the podcast channel, which is where I talk about whatever's on my mind. Politics, social issues, whatever. You can also find it everywhere podcasts can be found. Or you can check out the videos on my main channel where I focus on destructive cults. As it is with most channels these days, I rely on the support of viewers like you to keep my channel alive, so sharing my work is extremely helpful. Anyways, check me out in all those places if you haven't already. Thanks for listening, guys.